Okay, note to self. Jules cannot come and visit anymore with us. So we were talking about slide 4, where it talks about, there we go, healthcare disparities and addressing health and how we can address it. So as our culture continues to change and evolve, 20 years ago, our um, biggest healthcare disparity was African Americans. Like that was the biggest group 20, 30 years ago. Because of, even though segregation had ended, access to care was limited, specifically back in the 70s, and even the early 80s, there was so much limited access for that one group because of where they lived and because of, legislation, and nonprofits were just now getting on that bandwagon that that specific group of low income African Americans had limited access. So that was 20 or 30 years ago. And now the biggest group that we look at as far as health disparities are going to be our LGTB, our lesbian, gay, transsexual, and bisexual patients are really right now our biggest group of those with health disparities, because of their their sexual identification. It causes a whole new gamut of issues because their issues and their health concerns are different than the traditional heterosexual population. Um, so that's the group that a lot of nonprofits and the government and a lot of health policy people are now focusing on. I think it's very interesting. In the PowerPoint that you uploaded, you can see the slides and the speaker notes. So the speaker notes are something you definitely want to look at as you're preparing to test, and looking at your study guide that I'll be providing in the next week or so for our Unit 3 test. But it says, in addition to poor access to health care, a large body of research shows that healthcare systems and healthcare providers can contribute significantly to the problem of health disparities. Inadequate resources, poor patient provider communication, and a lack of culturally competent care, fragmented delivery of care, and inadequate access to language services all comprise patient outcomes. So let's talk about that for a second. In fifth and sixth block, I'm going to pick on Makira. And in seventh and eighth block, I'm going to pick on Hannah. Um, how do you think healthcare providers and their lack of culturally competent care, and lack of their lack of comfort with dealing with certain populations hinders the care that they provide? Okay, I'm sure you gave great answers. But really, what we want to talk about as we move forward is cultural competence and how us being comfortable with different populations affects the care that we give. Um, our prejudice and stereotypes and, you know, our realization that we actually really do racially profile at times all hinders the care that we give.